Welcome to this episode of CynSpeaks. In this episode, we're going to talk about heart-based living and living a free and happy life. So when we're talking about heart-based living, really what I mean is living a life that feels good. And that feel-good feeling that doesn't go anywhere regardless of scenario. That is literally the dream life. So getting to a space where you're living a heart-based life can be challenging if you feel that your current reality is less than ideal. And I've been there for very short spurts of time. I've been there. But I think because of the things that I went through as a kid, I kind of got into the habit of finding the good in the situation. Just because there were times where my reality didn't look great. And if I didn't find the good in it, I would be really sad. And that didn't align with who I was. So I learned at a pretty young age to just find the good in the situation and focus on that. Now, as I became an adult, it didn't always come easy as far as finding the good in situations. I want to say there's one period of my life where it wasn't easy, but for the most part, that's just been my habit, and that's what I've known, and it's what worked for me. And the minute that I got off track, we'll say, and the minute that I got into a space where I wasn't focused on the good, then the negative started to magnify. And it took me a while, it kind of took things falling apart for me to snap out of it essentially and be like, you know what, whatever's going to happen is going to happen, and I'm going to be thankful and happy for whatever happens. And when I got to that space, I actually started to see things falling into place immediately, literally the same day. So when I started to release things and I just let it go and I said, you know what, it could be worse. Like, I think I'm okay with how it is. I'm sure everything is going to be fine. And it was. And it is. And it continues to be. So I know for most people, it's probably challenging. Or I know that most people see me as like a dreamer. Or I live in this world that isn't real. But for me, it is real. And it's good. And it feels good. And I'm happy. So I just kind of want to share how I got to this space and how I stay in this space no matter what. And then I'm also going to share kind of how I fell off and how I got back on track, because I'm human. So pretty much at a young age, I started to realize that my reality could be influenced based upon my perspective of the situation. So even when I had to deal with things that, like bullying, right? I dealt with bullying as a child. My name is Cynamon. Hilarious. Like, I dealt with all kinds of bullying, and I was kind of corny, kind of a nerd, if you want to put that label on it. But I was just me, and I never really fit in anywhere, which was fine. Like, now I look back and I'm like, oh, it's perfect, because I wasn't meant to fit in anywhere. I still don't fit in anywhere, but I can relate to almost everyone. So it's a blessing now, but like as a kid, it was hard. But I always had a thing. I always had something that I was good at. And that made me feel better. So I would just focus on that. And when I was a kid, I was a dancer, and I sang, and I acted, and I was in all the arts. And that for me helped me deal with the stuff that was happening at school. Also, academically, that was something that my mom told me from a young age, that I was super smart. So I just ran with that. I believed it. So it was true. And I worked really hard on academics, because no matter what anyone could say about me, I knew that my grades were on point and I had these skills that I was good at. And for me, that helped. So I just had something that I could hold on to and focus on, even when kids were making fun of me at school or just being pure mean. Also, I started to realize that I could shape my reality. And that was really based upon the things that I said and I did and I believed. And I started to see things show up. I would think, oh my gosh, it would be really cool if I had this bike. But I don't know if it'll happen. If it does, that'll be really cool. But until then, I'm just gonna, figure out something else to do. And I didn't focus on it too much. And I started to, we'll say, manifest these things even as a kid. And I didn't realize really what was going on. But I was like, okay, well, I can just ask for something and I get what I want. And I started to live with that mindset. I get what I want, which is true. I always get what I want. Sometimes it's not what I need. Sometimes it's not what's good for me. But I always get what I focus on and what I manifest. So I learned to realize my current situation was created by me, and I created my life. I had opportunities to go into the entertainment industry as a child, or I guess we'll say teenager. I was in the industry as a child, and I had an opportunity to go in deeper as a teenager, and I decided to, we'll say, rebel because I wanted to be smart. Like, I wanted to be successful in the corporate world, and I wanted to go to school, and I wanted to prove that I was more than just a pretty face. Somebody told me that when I was young. So I kind of rebelled, and I was like, well, I'm going to show the world I'm smart, right? So I did this to prove all these things to other people. And I got all these degrees, but I wasn't following my heart, right? So because I focused on this academic desire to prove something, I did it. I proved something, but I really didn't find happiness. So that's actually what led to this podcast, is a way for me to more directly help people, which is what I'm passionate about, and that's what I love. So it's funny how things line themselves up, but I focused on this thing and I got it. I got my education. I have a master's degree, which is huge. I'll have a PhD in a few years. That's huge. And then I realized, dang, I did it. Like, initially I did it to prove someone wrong, to prove that I was more than just a pretty face. But now I can use that to help people. So my focus has shifted just a little bit. And now my perspective is like, I started this, journey to become a doctor of psych, and I'm going to follow it all the way through because I started it and I want to finish it, and I'm excited about it, and I get to change the world of research. And I also get to go back to South Phoenix and show these kids, like, I did it. I came from here. I want to help you guys do it too. So I have all types of goals tied to it now, but it was different then. This also worked for the negative. So when I started to focus on negative things, they would come to me too. And when I say negative things, it was, he's going to cheat on me. Well, that happened to me a few times. And it was because I expected it to happen. And when you expect something to happen, like, it will. So be mindful of the things that you think, because regardless of how you believe that you're living your life, you're living a heartfelt life. And what you believe will manifest. It really does. So just be mindful and don't give your attention to anything that you don't want, because you will invite it into your life. So that happened to me. Even something so small as moving. I pretty much started looking at apartments, and I saved some screenshots to my phone, and a couple months later I moved out. Unexpectedly, it was like a last minute thing, but I think that I may have manifested it by taking those screenshots of the apartments that I liked. So just be mindful. So when you realize, like, you can create your reality, you get to tailor that to exactly what you want. When you're thinking about the life you want, try not to think about your past, because your past has already been created. And the things that you start to think about now will start to unfold in your future. So if you think about what you want your future to look like, try not to look at your past unless you're trying to learn the lessons or look for good examples. Like, even if you're looking to manifest a beautiful relationship, look at past relationships for all the beautiful things and qualities that that person had. So even if that may not have been the person that you thought, or it may have been the person you thought you wanted, but even if they may not have been the person that was good for you at the time, they probably still had qualities that you enjoyed because you selected them. So think about those things. Think about only the good things. Well, this experience was good because of this. Well, I like this and this about him and this about him. So, just we'll take something along those lines for the future. And you can start to kind of tailor that. Money, you can start to manifest money or the lack of money depending on where your focus is. Anytime you focus on lack, you'll get more lack. So focus on that. And just remember that the past is no longer real. And even in this moment is passing. So this moment is the present. It's real right now, but it won't be in 1 second. So your reality is consistently changing, and your thoughts, you create your next step from your thoughts today. So if you think of your current reality, you look back to your thoughts a month ago, a year ago, you'll see, oh my gosh, I did think about this a year ago and look at where I'm at. It will be confirmation for you. And I'm sure that if you really look at your life, you'll start to see how you created the moments that you're in right now, good and bad. And all of it's okay. All of it's necessary. But just be mindful of that going forward. When you're living a heart-based life, have fun with it. And that will create a sense of freedom because you won't be tied to any outcomes. So if you start to have fun with your thoughts and really focus on the good and the fun that every situation brings you, your reality will start to feel a lot better. And when you start to pay attention to how you feel, you will start to guide yourself in a direction that just grows a better and better and better reality for you. And I'll briefly talk about happiness in connection to our heart-based life, because your happiness should be stable. Meaning, scenarios shouldn't affect your level of happiness. External situations should not influence the way that you feel. Right? So if you're in a situation where your money may not look like you would like it to look, and maybe the feeling of not having that money doesn't feel good, you're in the wrong mindset, because you're going to attract more of that scenario. You want to focus on the fact that, you know what, everything always works out for you. You always have whatever you need when you need it. Things always work out for you. Right now in this moment, you may only have $12 in your bank account, but guess what? You have $12 in your bank account, and you could buy this, and that, but you're not going to because you don't have to. But the fact that you have it, focus on what you have, and that will grow. Don't waste any time entertaining thoughts that you don't want to grow. And that will change your happiness, because you'll start to focus on only the positive things, and you'll start to feel better. You'll start to feel happier. And you may not believe me, but just try it and see how your reality shifts just a little bit based upon the way that you're thinking. I really hope this helped. This one is close to my heart because it's worked for me for so long. And if you've known me, you know that this is true. And you know that my life has been to some crazy, which is not necessarily a bad thing. I've lived a crazy life, but it's been pretty exciting, and I've always been okay. If you know me, you know I've always been okay. And I want to extend that energy to you. And I want you to start to believe that you'll always be okay. You'll always be okay. There's a team of spiritual advisors working on the other side, waiting for you to accept the fact that you will always be okay. So they can do their things on the back end, right? To make sure that that's a thing. Believe it. Start to believe it, start to live it, and you'll start to see it manifest and grow and create for you. Oh, I hope this episode helped you guys. This one felt good for me to share. And I really hope that you can start to become more mindful of your thoughts and your beliefs and your actions, and start to make the connection between your thoughts and your reality, and grow a more heart-based life, and just have more fun. That's what it's all about, is having more fun. So sending good vibes your way, good vibrations, good energy to you. And as always, subscribe, like, share, comment, and help us grow this podcast so that we can help heal the world, which is the goal. And I thank you for joining. Until next time.